Hello, I'm Tim Wilde, and I'm going to give you my wild thoughts on Cyrano, starring Peter Dinklage. A movie I was really excited about seeing because I love musicals. I love Peter Dinklage. I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, and I was excited about the concept. Peter Dinklage offers his words for the handsome Kelvin Harrison Jr. I didn't know who he was. To share his love for the girl Haley Bennett. I didn't like her. So between the two of them, they could be one powerful romantic force that would just win her over and convey their love mutually, even though it seemed like they were all pretty invested in this three-way relationship, even though there were big surprises that are all throughout it, like, oh, I didn't know you loved her, all that kind of crap. Anyway, I was excited about this movie. Then I saw the trailer. Actually, I didn't know about it until I saw the trailer, and I didn't even know it was a musical because the trailer didn't really showcase the music, and that was kind of a red flag because if a musical is not going to like present and share that there's like very dynamic music or big, cool, beautiful, colorful sequences for the musical numbers, then I'm like, they don't have a lot of confidence in the music, and so I didn't know what I was going into. Then I just found out it was a musical, and then I found out it was based on a play that was written by Peter Dinklage's wife, based on the book by whoever. I don't know. I'm not literate. But I was excited, and then I was like, oh, that'll be interesting. And then I saw the movie, and I gotta say, those red flags were genuine, and they were there for a reason, because it was not strong. I was very disappointed. I'm not going to give you spoilers about anything specific, but I gotta say, I tried desperately to enjoy this movie. I did not enjoy it, but I didn't like it. I tried so hard. I was sitting there with my friend watching, and I was just like, "Oh, I like this. And I expressed it like it was like a bubble, like a nice little bubble of something good, either a character emotion or a song would start up, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm digging this." And then the movie would just do something like harsh to just break that and pop the bubble and just disappoint me with either a really bad dialogue or something that got interrupted with terrible delivery or something stupid in the story, where really stupid would happen. And I'm like, "Are you serious?" And then like characters would make dumb decisions. And I just felt like nothing was built up. I felt nothing was executed very well. And even the things that I was kind of getting into, like, were just interrupted by something that was just dumb. And so I tried. I tried so hard to like this movie, but I couldn't do it. I did score it with my Wilde review system that, is not always so well received by other people, but I did score it for my out of 10. I broke it down. I have my 5 categories. Story and plot. 2 points are available for each thing. Story and plot. I gave it a 1 because I think 1 out of 2. I think the concept is good. It's there. It could be something that was really interesting. You have war. You have this cool, like, Cyrano, Peter Dinklage's character. He's like a sword fighter. He's a military commander or whatever, and he's experienced in battle, and he can hold his own. Like, he's not just some dwarf running around getting picked on, by everyone. He's pretty strong, solid character. And he's a passionate, emotional character. But, like, I didn't feel like they went anywhere. They did enough with him. I don't think... He was great. Peter Dinklage does Peter Dinklage. But, like, I don't mean doesn't have range. I'm saying he was doing what we expect from Peter Dinklage in carrying this emotion and this weight dramatically. But I didn't feel like he was enough to elevate it into anything amazing. Kind of like how Halle Berry was not enough to elevate Moonfall. The movie was terrible. She couldn't even bring that dialogue up. But Cyrano weighed heavily on Peter Dinklage, obviously. He's the main character, and the title character, but even his performance was enough to make me like really invest in this character. I tried. And in the beginning they did some good stuff, but it's just like he just kind of flopped around like a fish throughout the plot. I don't know what that example means, but that's what I'm going with. But it was a 1 because I don't think it was executed. It felt like they weren't telling us a story, they were telling us about a story. Here's a little story beat. Here's a song that just tells us about something that is happening in the story, but it's not actually taking us on a journey. I didn't feel like I went and experienced the adventure of these characters or explored this romance with these characters. I felt like I was just told about the romance of these characters with a few hacky songs and some terrible acting on the part of Kelvin Harrison. I don't remember his name. I just was very underwhelmed. So story and plot, it was a 1 because it was there. And I described it that it was like there was that few 10-minute sequence of A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger where like the group writes, or collectively they write the poem letter to the girl, and then he finally confronts her, and she was like, speak to me the same words, and he like couldn't do it, and she's like, you're like, what's the deal, and it's foiled, that wasn't his words. But Heath Ledger was charismatic and passionate and wonderful and charming, that it made sense that there was still a dynamic there. There was still love. There was an emotional investment. You cared about these two characters. This one, Kelvin, there was nothing charming about him, his character. I'm moving on to characters, which I gave a 0.5. So 1 for story and plot, 0.5 for characters. There was nothing there. No charisma, no passion, nothing interest, no quirks, nothing special. He wasn't funny. He was a handsome black guy, and there's your diversity. But like, there was not. I mean, even the opening sequence when you see him coming into town or whatever, he's like a new soldier in town. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Let's see where he goes and he sees the girl. But I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. I like this character. He's bopping around just all bright-eyed or wide-eyed at the city and everything. And then like nothing. He just shows up for work the next day. He's like, oh, I guess I love her. I guess you'll write letters for me. It was just kind of dumb. The girl, Roxanne's the character, Haley Bennett. She was not. I think she was miscast. I mean, she's not. It's not all about looks, but like even personality stuff. I didn't get anything out of this character, including attraction, that like would have generated enough fuel for me to think that these characters were legitimately in love with her, to the point of where the story goes, and sacrifices and embarrassments that are made and secrets that are being held. Like, I was like, why don't it doesn't feel like they would invest that much of themselves into this person. I didn't get anything out of her, and it's not all about looks, but looks was also part of it. If you have a beautiful character, she doesn't have a lot of charisma, you're like, well, okay, well, she's hot. If you have like a character that has no charm or personality, or that has great charm and personality but not good looks, then that works. But this character was just like, and it's not her, it's just like the way, even though the wardrobe and everything was just nothing. It gave me nothing, is what I'm saying. Special effects, I give it a 1 out of 2 because that goes along with CGI and things like that. There was some sequences that were out in a battlefield, out in the snow. That was it kind of felt like it was on a sound set. Just things like that. It was okay. The 1 means it did the job, but I wasn't like overwhelmed. And it wasn't like bad. So it was fine. There was some cool sequences. There's a part where Peter Dinklage is in a sword fight, and then they drop a noose on him and like pull him up on a noose, and it looks pretty real. It's really, and to do that, obviously he's not really being pulled up by his neck on a noose. Stuff like that. The effects were pretty good. I was pretty impressed by that. A lot of the carriages moving around and a lot of stuff like that. The set pieces, the way they do this, like big huge rooms with chandeliers and like gorgeous sets of like lots of soldiers out on a fort with an ocean behind them. There was some decent stuff that they had to be proud of with their CGI, but nothing blowing me away. So it's a 1. Cinematography 1.5, and that's the best I could give it, because there was some intriguing stuff happening with the cinematography. I love the lighting, I love the camera work, and everyone knows that's like my favorite thing, cinematography in movies, besides tone and characters. But it was effective, it was good, it was interesting, and I just felt like whenever something interesting was happening with the camera, they were singing about something that was dumb. Or if something was interesting with the camera, it was about a scene that I didn't feel like it was really going anywhere. Like it was just kind of thrown at me like, here's a little musical number, here's a beautiful sequence, and then you're going to see the characters being stupid. I mean, I don't know. I think the camera work was great. It was beautiful to look at. Some stuff I wish I could pull off. It felt like it was like trying to be kind of like open and colorful like Mamma Mia, but it was not. It didn't like, hit the landing like Mamma Mia did. But that's the best comparison I could give it. But it was good. It had a good dark tone for the palette, the color palette and everything. The lighting was cool, and the camera angles and stuff. It was pretty neat. It was neat to look at. It was not disinteresting at all. So 1.5. Finally, music and sound design. I gave that a 1.5, and I had to push really hard to give it that extra 0.5 because I think it just barely did the job. I gotta say, and this includes music and everything, the soundtrack, the score, or the songs. The music was, there'd be a song would start, and I lean over my friend and be like, "Oh, I like this. This is really good." And then they start singing, and the singing was weird. Like, I think, and it's not Peter Dinklage's singing voice or any of the other characters. It's not that. It's just, it almost felt like they took the recording from like the boom mic, and they didn't actually record it like in a studio later, like with a clean set and blocking out all the noise and like cleaning up the audio and everything. I almost feel like auto-tune would have helped with these characters, but like they like it didn't feel like a clean with articulate word or I don't know how to express it. I don't know anything about music. I just know what I like and what I didn't like, what I didn't like. This, the music was good, the songs, the content was good. It could have been, that's why I pushed for that 0.5, because it was there, it just didn't hit it. I liked some of the music and I liked some of the songs, and then other songs were forgettable. And that's what, as I kind of glanced at some reviews, that's what it seems like everyone complained about, was the music was forgettable. But I was like, it was forgettable, but it had potential. Let's just say that. I think with a different cast, I almost want to hear the Broadway version of this. If it was Broadway, but whatever, a professional theater version of this on CD. If they did a recording of it, like in post-production, and I want to hear that clean audio of these songs, I think I would like a lot better. But I just don't think and Peter Dinklage is fine, because it's just like Johnny Depp and Sweeney Todd. Just because they don't have a lot of singing experience doesn't mean they can't pull off this character singing. I think Peter Dinklage singing was fine. It was just, the audio was just not very clean. Maybe it was the theater I was in, I don't know. But like, there was a scene where they were singing while they were sword fighting, and like they amped up the sound effects of the sword fighting and stepping around and bumping into stuff and people laughing or whatever. And that was like the same level as the singing was. I'm like, hey, you got to balance that out a little bit, because I couldn't pay attention to what they were. I could pay attention, but I'm just saying I couldn't really enjoy the music over the swashbuckling, and it was just kind of, I don't know, just little things like that. The music was good, it was just not quite there, so I give it 1.5. That's 5.5 out of 10. I tried, I really did. I would dock the whole thing 1 point just for the very final line, which I'm not going to ruin what's going on. I think the final like 10 minutes of this movie, I'm like, wait, what? And like what happens leading into that final 10 minutes, I'm like, this is so stupid. And then the final 10 minutes happens. I'm like, okay, it seems like they're trying to set something up. And that's the thing. Every time something interesting, I'm like, oh, this got interesting. I'd lean over my friend. Oh, this got interesting again. And then like they would say something stupid or something dumb would happen. I mean, never mind. I tried. Every 10 minutes, I'm sitting like, oh, I'm into this. And then no. It felt like, some movies have their ups and downs. And like, if this was a line of like what's good, this movie was like down here trying to keep me engaged to enjoy it, and I was fighting really hard for those heights to enjoy it before it would spike back down. Most movies are up here. I'm like, it was okay. This one's like, oh, I tried so hard to keep it at okay level. Never was it up here. So whatever. Do I recommend it? No. Don't go see this movie. As much as I would love to support musicals, any musical is better than no musical, but maybe that's not true. But don't. Just wait for it to be. Don't buy it. Just wait for it to be streaming. I'm on the fence. I don't know if I'm going to buy it or not. I don't know. I kind of want to support it. I kind of want to give it another shot down the road. But I think I just want to listen to the music a little bit. See if I can get more into it. Because there was some solid stuff. Just some dumb stuff in this movie that I can't spoil. But the last line, I was like, wait. Is that how it's ending? I was like, is this credits? And then the credits started. I was like, oh my gosh, that was terrible. Started grabbing my stuff, and I'm like just turning on my phone or whatever. And then the people in the audience behind us, which were like some older people and some like women that went together, some girls, they were all sitting there like still staring at the screen, just enjoying the music or whatever of the credits. And I was like, are they just still loving the vibe? And my friend's like, I think they're just waking up. That's probably exactly what it was. Don't go see it. Those girls may have liked it in the theater. I don't know. But maybe they're trying to process what they saw. But it was not good. Execution was just terrible. Conceptually, I think would be good. I think the music could have stood. I think better casting for everyone besides Peter Dinklage would have enhanced it. But I don't feel like the story's not great. That's why I give it a 1. It's there, but it doesn't flow. It's not engaging. Most of the stuff we were pointing out felt a lot like Moulin Rouge, not just that sequence from A Knight's Tale, because in A Knight's Tale you like engage in those characters, which tell almost the same story, this whole story, in about 10 minutes of film time in A Knight's Tale, the concept at least. And then you have Moulin Rouge, and pretty much this whole story is Moulin Rouge with a little inversions of characters here and there. But anyway, don't like it, don't watch it, or don't go see it in the theater. You can wait till it streams and then check it out if you like musicals or Peter Dinklage. Those are the only 2 reasons to see this movie. Peter Dinklage, if you're a big fan of his, or if you like musicals, you want to hear the songs, go for it. Anyway, those are wild thoughts on Cyrano.